What's up? Good to see you guys again. This is part two of that story about Antoinette, the cocaine addict. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm me. I'm you know who it is. You're you. I'm me. Right? Okay. Long day. Sorry, it's been a long day. Like, subscribe, the whole thing. Subscribe. The content gets from here. So more people subscribe, the more people like Antoinette, the information gets out to her and people that live with her, etc. So the neighbors, codependents, people, stuff like that. Nation. So that being said, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get play going here, if I can figure out how to do it, and we'll get into Antoinette's part two. I think you're gonna like it.
Thanks, Mark.
It's been about a month.
Yeah, I have 30 days today.
30 days.
30 days.
We went to Uplift, which is a program up in Pasadena.
Yes. Yeah. It was a long road. Coming down, I thought that would be the hardest part, but it was the emotional aspect that was really the hardest part. You know, I feeling the emotions as I got clean over the last 30 days that I haven't felt emotions. And well, I grew up, you know, my mom and dad always told me, don't have feelings, you know, don't cry. We didn't really talk about feelings. So it's been an interesting road.
And the feelings that came up were from like childhood and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of old trauma that I've been through, and trauma from using. And, you know, I felt a lot of shame when my video was going to come out, and I was worried about how it would be perceived, how I would be perceived, and, you know, if my family would get any backlash or anything like that. Because I like to look at myself that I was a little bit of a closet user. So there was half the people I knew that I feel like knew I was using, you know, drug friends and stuff like that. And then I have, you know, a lot of people that didn't know I was using. So I was a little bit worried about how I'd be perceived as well. But yeah, so there's a lot of feelings, but I don't feel shame about it anymore. So
you look a lot better.
Thank you.
It looks fantastic.
Better. Yeah.
5
I've
years
been doing
younger.
a lot of journaling, and I read a book called Soulbriety by Elisa Hallerman. It was about
Soulbriety.
Soulbriety, yeah. It's about having to dig deep inside yourself and deal with those old wounds, and, you know, feel the feelings. And otherwise,
that's really the core of it.
Yeah. Otherwise, sobriety is really only going to be there for a short period of time. That short period of time could be 5 years, but it's still not long lasting. And
it's just a patch.
Yeah. Yep.
And so how do you feel now after 30 days is not a long time?
Yeah, I feel good. I'm a little nervous to go home, you know, go back to real life, and I have to look for a job, and I'll be doing IOP, which is an intense outpatient program. You know, Uplift really became, when I went in, Becky told me they would love you until I love myself. And they really did. You know, I'm just starting to love myself. And so they've become my comfort. And I'm a little nervous now to leave, but, you know, got to go back into the real world.
Yeah.
So
we all have to do that eventually.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you had a good experience there.
I had a great experience. Yeah. Between Sarvin and Paul and Becky and all their staff. And, you know, it's not always easy leaving with 10 other strangers, you know, 10 other people, and getting clean as well. That wasn't always fun, but.
And it's a variety of substances they were addicted to?
Yes. Yep. We had somebody who was coming off of fentanyl, and somebody who was coming off of alcohol, and people who were coming off of heroin, and somebody coming off of crack. And so you can imagine there's a wide variety of personalities in one house. So it was rough sometimes, but overall, I mean, we go to at least 2 groups a day, and we had some great conversations in those groups. Some conversations that I don't know that I would have had with other people. They can relate to me and the feelings that came up, and, you know, the emotions and the shame and the guilt, and it was really, really awesome.
Is there cocaine?
And I feel like there has been. Yeah. I feel I don't have as many negative thoughts, which is nice. I felt like my mind was flooded with negative thoughts about myself. I didn't feel worthy of rehab or anything, better life, you know. I wondered if I could even do it. But now those negative thoughts have really subsided.
You can do
I
it.
also tried to change the way I look at things. So sometimes a negative thought will come into my head and I try to replace it with a positive thought. One of the staff at Uplift had me looking in the mirror, look in my eyes and giving myself a high five in the morning and telling myself that I love myself, which was really hard in the beginning. But it got easier.
I mean, that seems like a simple, crude little exercise, but that's really the core of it.
Yeah.
I think after doing so many interviews and seeing all these people going through things similar to yours, it's like if you don't have the ability to truly love yourself,
Yeah.
like on the deepest subconscious level, not just doing it in the mirror, but that's how maybe it starts.
Yes.
If you're not able to do that, you won't be able to accept any good in your life.
Yeah.
You'll take advantage of people and you'll do things that are uncool, but you won't have the ability to say, wow, you're really helping me. That's great. I'll accept that help and I'll get my life straight. You just won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
I've seen it over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there was at one point I wanted to leave Uplift just because
You did.
yeah, the emotions became so overwhelming and I felt like I was going crazy almost. But you know, it was about 11 o'clock at night and Becky, she's one of my angels, I call her. Her and Sarvin, Becky came to the house about 11 o'clock. I've had all my stuff packed, you know, I'm downstairs and everything's packed, ready to go. And I'm like, you guys can't say anything to stop me. You know, I'm leaving. And it wasn't about that I wanted to use. It was because in my head, I was still feeling unloved. And it was myself. I wasn't loving myself. And so Becky comes to the house about 11 o'clock at night and Sarvin, you know, he gets on the phone with me. And I mean, probably an hour. It took them probably about an hour of just talking to me and, you know, the emotions that I felt, that they felt for me was, I didn't realize that people could love you, you know? And they told me, sleep on it, just sleep on it. You know, you are worthy of this. You are worthy of a better life. And I slept on it and I still had a hard time the next day. But they surrounded me with this love that I'm feeling in myself. You know, if these strangers can love me, and then why don't I love myself, you know? And that was really the turning point for me. I ended up staying and I unpacked my stuff and, you know, they helped me unpack my stuff and put it back in my room and they had no judgment on me. So that was the turning point for me starting to love myself.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really,
awesome.
that's really what this channel is. That's what I see it as being about. And whether it's a drug addict story or a gang member story or sex worker story, or even the psychology based interviews I'm doing now, the mental health ones, they're all just about being able to love yourself.
Yeah. And I never realized that before. I always thought before I started using, you know, on paper, I had everything great. You know, I had a house, a nice car, you know, a nice job. I have a degree, but all that is just stuff unless you believe in yourself. It doesn't mean anything. And I thought I loved myself, but I heard that voice inside me that I never have, just because that's how I grew up. And it's a different feeling now to feel love for yourself. It's weird, but I'm getting used to it and learning new ways to love myself.
And doing these little small esteem building acts, like getting through a month of this successfully, is how you build self-esteem.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, the more you can do other acts like that, and it just racks up, and you eventually build self-worth that can put you into a better career, better direction, better life, better relationships, better everything.
Yeah. And that's why I think I'm not nervous to go home, because I'm ready to do the work. I'm ready to keep digging into my soul and figuring out you know, how I can stay this way. I want to be happy. I just want to be genuinely happy. And, you know, one of my friends, while I was there, Cujo, he was like me, recovering, and he was really accountable. He kept me accountable to that the whole time I was there. He came in after me, but he kept me accountable, you know, even if we just sat there and worked on a puzzle quietly together.
It's so funny. You'll see so many people that are in a similar situation and are very able to coach you on what to do and how to stay on track and all that. But that doesn't mean they can do it for themselves, because they lack that self-love.
I feel like I was that person. I could coach people, you know, I could give people great advice or help people with anything. And I mean, I worked in the legal field, so I love helping people, but I'd never had that self-love. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the generation, you know, the way we grew up, or we never talked about self-love growing up.
We talk about it a lot more now than we used to.
Yeah.
How was your friend Cujo doing now?
He's doing good. He's clean, sober as well, and he's on the right path.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad this was a successful month for you.
Thank you.
Very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You
I'm
have
excited
hope.
about my future finally.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right. Hope to get some other wonderful news from you down the road.
I do want to say,
Yes.
did read a lot of positive comments on my video. I didn't watch the video. I'm not ready for, but the
Yeah, my viewers, 99% of them are, or most of them, I would say, are just really empathetic, compassionate, kind.
How about that, huh? Antoinette, kicking ass and taking names 30 days in. Hardest they say is a week, and then 30 days, of course, then 6 months. But I think she's going to make it. She has good attitude. She looks so much younger. I mean, her face just comes alive. Her aura, her spirit is shining out of her after only 30 days. It's amazing how that blanket of addiction can just smother the life out of anybody. Just keep your light, you know, just kind of tampered down. So that was wonderful. Just a great story. I like these. I'm going to keep on doing these, and we'll dig in deeper on different kinds of drugs and addictions and things of that nature. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Thanks for always tuning in and making my life so much easier to live sometimes. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. Let it begin with you. And by all means, say a prayer for the prayerless and the ones that no one ever says a prayer for. They need prayers also. So with that said, I'm going to go and get some dinner. God bless you. Have a good evening.